Happy New Year! Happy 2023. Can you see it? Can you see it? Oh, this is the Adrenalized Artist here. I hope you guys are doing well. I am doing okay now. I say it like that because the last month or so has been kind of rough for me. And the last couple of weeks have been a lot. And the last 24 hours have been especially rough. But I'm making it. I'm working my way through, pushing through some issues. And I thought that I would make a brief video just to holler back at you guys. Thank you for your support. I know that 2022, I made some content. Some of it was maybe kind of sparse. Some of it might not have been the best quality videos as far as like lighting and sound and, all the accoutrements that go into making content. Um, it's not out of laziness, it's out of just some stuff. Um, Before I begin, I just want to say I especially appreciate those of you who watched my planner video that I just put up. Please be patient with me. Part two is going to be a much better version of that. And I may just take part one down completely. I don't know. But then I have some social numbers tied to that. And I don't know if I want to take it down completely or just make a better video with part two. For those of you who don't like those videos, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say. Sometimes I get poor response on them, like as far as likes or whatever, which here's the thing. I don't make content for the likes. I don't make content to get subscribers. But naturally, I appreciate it anytime someone subscribes. And I appreciate anyone who returns to watch any of my videos because that's the only way that you can keep going on here and make any kind of means to an end, if you know what I mean. Um, but because I am an adrenalized artist, I am constantly making things, even when I'm not physically in the process of painting or sculpting or writing a poem or singing a song or whatever. I'm an artist in the way that I dress, in the way that I think, in everything that I do. And most of us have artistry about us. In fact, I would venture to say all of us do. Some of us are practitioners of it, some of us are not. Some of us are spiritually aligned to it, and maybe some of us are not. Um, so I don't think that I'm special or anything. I think that my purpose in using these gifts, which are on loan from high, as in on high, the Father, the Mother, uh, on high, is to use them while I'm here and to spread love and joy and the messages that are given to me from on high. That's just what I personally believe. So it's on loan to me. And if you follow me on one of my Instagram channels, I actually say, from him through me to you. And that's what I live by. Having said all of that, though, I am going through quite a lot. I try to mask, I try to pretend that I'm not, and I try to go about my daily life like a lot of us do once we hit adulthood, especially. Um, Although I'm pretty sure some kids and adolescents do this too. We have things that happen, we aren't able to handle them well, and sometimes we need a little assistance, a little guidance, and we don't always ask for what we need. And we don't always stop to acknowledge what we need. And I'm just here to say that if you don't do that, at some point, your body, your mind, your heart, your spirit will do it for you. So that's kind of what I've been going through here recently. As I mentioned in one of my, I think, next to the last video, my mom had major surgery. She went through that well, praise God. Um, so she's recovering. For those of you who personally know me and have asked about her, thank you. I appreciate any thoughts, prayers, um, meditations on her soul, anything that you do when thinking about someone. I appreciate what people have done, and she appreciates it. My dad appreciates it. We're thankful. Um, I often say that my best friend is my best friend that I grew up with, and that person is one of my best friends, probably the closest person to me that I'm not related to. And we have known each other. I was trying to think of this the other day. It's been over 40 years. So, most of our lives, right? I think it's more like, hold it, she's like almost 2 years younger than me. So, trying to think here. 40. Sometimes I can't look at the camera and think. I'm like 43, 44 years. I think it's going on 44 years. But anyway, and I can tell this person I'm referring to anything. But next to that, my mom is my best friend. And my brother was definitely my best friend. He was like my confidant. Like, we told each other, you know how it is with siblings. You tell each other things that, and especially growing up as kids and teenagers, maybe even young adults, you tell each other things a lot of times that you would never tell your parents. You would kind of consider, should I tell my friends? My friends might look at me sideways. But when you're family, often siblings tell each other things that nobody else knows. And so, since I have not had that in the past 5 years since his, transition into heaven, um, I've noticed how much my mom and my brother are similar. Um, I also am appreciative of her for what I'm about to talk about. So, I'm in some phase of menopause. I assume that it could be perimenopause because monthly visitor, but um, I've noticed that is more erratic, and I've noticed several other things. Like, for instance, sometimes I get night sweats. Sometimes I get hot flashes, often though I have cold flashes. Sometimes it's like, ooh, I'm hot, or ooh, I'm cold. I'll wrap myself up, only to a minute or two later go, oh, I'm hot, and I have to take everything off. Um, First sign that I noticed was my hair thinning. My hair used to be so thick and pretty and luxurious and all this, and I didn't even realize what I had. I never, growing up and as a young adult, valued or even really thought about what I looked like. I thought I was the ugly duckling of my family. I thought I didn't look like anybody. I thought, each time that a guy said anything to me, well, why is he talking to me? Like, I just questioned it all the time. Water. But then, I'd say a couple of years ago, I look back at some of my pictures and I was kind of like, I had it going on. Nobody told me this. I'm like, you know what? I didn't even understand what powers I possessed. And it's probably good that I didn't. It kept me grounded. It kept me from being conceited. All of those things. And, but it's just funny looking back now. I'm like, wow, look at my hair. Look at the figure I had. Look at. So it's just hilarious to look back. And who knows? if I live to be like 70, 80, I might look back at myself now and be like saying the same thing. I don't know. Um, but we're so quick to notice what we consider to be flaws and what we consider to be issues because the way our society is and with the messaging and the programming and the all these things that are out there, and then sometimes with the things that are or are not happening in our lives, for a long time and occasionally even now, unfortunately, I would beat myself up over, well, gee, I'm not married. What gives? I try to be a good person. At the time, I still believe in God, but at the time, I went to church without fail, like all the time. Every Sunday, Bible study, participated and worked on lots of committees, did lots of things, community service involved. I mean, I was a church girl, choirs, all the things. So I would be like, wow, okay, I haven't been picked. This was in my 20s. And then I would think, well, it's because I'm ugly. It's because, I'm not a stick figure. It's because, this thing or that thing. And initially, when I was in college, I thought, well, I'm in school. When I graduate, don't worry, it'll happen and I'll have kids. I wanted to be married, happily married. Like, I wasn't thinking about the wedding day. I was actually wanting a loving, nurturing, successful marriage with a man who was in love with me and I was in love with him. Um, and I thought that I would have children. Knowing the things I know now, because I study a lot of sexuality, sexology, um, I have studied a lot about anatomy and all of these things because a lot of people don't realize this. I've also studied anthropology. So anyone who goes through any degree program of any significance in anthropology, you are doing a lot of study of if it's sociocultural anthropology like me, your whole emphasis is not this, but to some degree, everyone is taking certain courses which requires you to be aware of human bones and the skeleton and DNA and things like that. So I have had some courses in that. It's been a minute, but I have had some of these courses. Um, so just understanding the size and shape of the cisgender female pelvis and the different body systems and what they do, I can look back and think, okay, well, I had a decent sized pelvis. Um, and looking at everything that happens in the course of a month, I was quite fertile. I'm pretty sure of it, without, you can never say for certain, of course, without a licensed OBGYN, fertility clinics, etc., running certain tests on you. So I don't want to make it sound like, oh, I'm that kind of a specialist. But just with the information that I do have on hand and through studies that I've done in the past, I'm pretty sure I was fertile for a long while. Ran into a couple of issues like late 30s that a lot of women run into, and especially women of color, and especially women of African descent. So I ran into a couple of things there, but still, I'm like, I have a good amount of eggs, and you're thinking different things. You're thinking you have time. You're thinking that you'll find someone, or that they'll find you, and these things will happen, and you'll make beautiful babies, and you'll raise those babies into successful, self-sufficient adults. fast forward to now, which in a few days I'll be 52. Um, my eggs just leave my body and return to Earth, I guess, um, unfertilized. And it's not even a matter of that. It's you want to have companionship. You want to have a spiritual, mental, physical connection with someone. And I think everybody who is an adult who wants that should be able to have that, should be able to be blessed with that. And not all of us are blessed to have that. Wow, I didn't think I would start welling up, but um and that's part of why I've always been really a proponent of LGBTQ plus rights. I know so many people of that community who have had to fight so hard for who they are, just to be accepted for who they are and for who they love. And I feel like they have the right to that. Just like people who are straight and or cisgender have the right to it too. Um, but then it's like if you're not asexual, if you're not aromantic, and your preference is to be with someone, to have a connection, to have a bond, to have romantic love, and to live your life with them and to age with them, and that's your preference, but you don't get that, like that doesn't come through, what do you do? And then bonus, we had this worldwide pandemic to occur, and I'm like, you know what? I'm like a needle in a haystack. If there's some man out there who would want a woman like me, he doesn't even know I exist. He doesn't even know where I am. He would literally have to like fall on the doorstep. He would have to be he would have to be dropped by I don't know, a shipping company or Amazon or something. He you know, in a drone. A drone would have to go whoosh and drop him right here. I mean, I don't get anywhere. I don't get to see people now, and it's been, oh wow, in 2 months it'll be 3 years that I have not had any kind of social interaction with people other than, you know, we're wearing masks and we go to a store very briefly or to run some errand. I haven't been around anyone. I haven't seen any of my friends, my coworkers. I only see them in a chat, which I enjoy working from home. Now that we've had to do it and we're doing it still, I appreciate that. For one thing, I'll show you. Yeah, I had to have this done. Uh, it was in November, maybe a couple of weeks before my mother's surgery. I have been bothered with a cyst that's like right in this area for about 20 years. And every now and again it acts up, and it's because of my bra strap. So originally, when the doctor removed it, he was just like, oh, I love stuff like this. And he brought out this thing that looked like a huge toolbox. And I thought, what is he about to do? And I went to him for like most of my adulthood until he went into a different specialty. And now he's no longer a primary care physician, he's a specialist. You know who my doctor is, Doc. If you happen to somehow be watching this, shout out to you, because other than this last November, you were the only person who had gone into my cyst. So he would get a lot of it out, like a good portion of it would come out each time. But yet, I guess a lot of it was underneath the surface and just stayed and reared its ugly head again. I don't know. So this time, I have a completely different primary care doctor, and I have not had experience with her removing anything from my body. So I thought, what am I going to do? I was going to go into this dermatologist slash skin surgeon, and not only was she fully booked, and every specialist in her office was fully booked, but she's not accepting new patients. And I only know about her because I have so many family members and colleagues and stuff that go to this lady. So I thought, what am I going to do? I called my primary care physician's office back, and I said, I know that I postponed my physical for like a couple of months from now because of my mother's surgery and my work schedule and not having, time off. I said, but I'm going to have to do something and go in to see you because I said, I have this cyst is like getting huge. I don't know what to do. And it just popped this morning. Like it did. It was gross. So they saw me. Completely different doctor I've never seen in my life. I showed it to her. She was like, "Oh." That woman, and actually I think she might really be a nurse practitioner. Shout out to you if you happen to be watching this and you know who you are. Girlfriend, you clean that out. It is like flats. If I didn't want to just take this totally off, I would show. Do you see? I have this doubled up. This is flat. There's nothing. So it is as flat as it's ever been. I at times get a little bit of pain in the area. And that's why I have a bandage. But shout out to you. I appreciate you for hooking me up. I did some things differently this time. I have had it covered for pretty much every day for like 5.5 weeks. Everything that was coming out had a chance to come out. When I showered, a little bit more of it would come out each time. And I didn't put water directly on where the cyst was removed. I went around it. So I think that helped too, because our tap water is kind of polluted around the country. They weren't kidding when they said on the news that we have some issues going on in this country. We do. And it doesn't even matter. I'm get political, but not exactly. It doesn't matter what party gets in, people, to a degree. Some issues have been issues for a long time, and it's going to take a long time to work on them and get them resolved enough for us to have a peaceful, happy, and healthy existence. I don't know any other way to say that. I'm feeling a lot. So originally I was talking about menopause. That's another thing too. Menopause causes me to have a foggy brain and I don't always remember what I was talking about. But I'm going through a lot of anxiety. I had anxiety anyway and depression anyway, but that is making it worse. The past roughly 24 hours, I have had so much anxiety. I couldn't sleep last night. I felt like I was having a heart attack for most of the day yesterday, and at times this morning, I was like, what in the world? There was a time that I would never say that I had these issues out loud, but I have a few things, chemical imbalances, if you will, that have been a part of my life for probably all of my life and are genetic. And that's two of the conditions. The other thing is I also have body dysmorphia, and I am a recovering compulsive eater. And I have not compulsively hit any of my trigger foods in years. Like, I used to eat whole packages of things as an adolescent. Like, it got really bad at one point. Um, and that's when it started, too. I was like maybe 12 or 13 and in the seventh grade. And my folks would come home and be like, what happened to the chips? What happened to the crackers? Like, what happened to the stuff? I know I bought 2 boxes of this. Where is it? Like, in an afternoon. I kid you not. Um, I was never a person to purge, but I would binge eat a lot. And as a young adult and through a lot of therapy, I realized that a lot of my compulsion was around feeling like I was not enough, feeling like I was unworthy, feeling like I was the ugly duckling, and feeling like, oh, I'm never going to be picked for anything. And that never going to be picked narrative has played out a lot with employment, with relationships. And I'm not even talking about romantic relationships only, even friendships. Like, it's played out quite a bit. So, what we say to ourselves is vital because sometimes we're creating, not sometimes, we are creating self-fulfilling prophecies with the things that we say. So we really have to watch what we say and how we talk to ourselves and to other people. The final thing I want to say about, there's so many different ways that menopause has been affecting me, but I have more congestion. Oh, and more aches and pains. My bones. Oh my goodness. Even my teeth, which teeth are bone. Um, I really need to go. When my dentist sees me, that office is probably going to be like, what have you been doing? First of all, I have not gone since the pandemic because I didn't know what precautions they even could remotely have. Because you're sitting in the chair with your mouth open the whole time. Like, it's like, okay, welcome, welcome, virus. Um, but I've got to do something. My bottom teeth, you can't really see on the inside. It's something going on. I've only had one cavity and it was in one of my wisdom teeth, which they were being removed anyway. I don't know if I'm developing cavities. I don't know if I have some kind of weird abscess happening on a couple of my teeth or what, but I'm like, something does not look like it used to, and I need professional guidance on that. Um, so, and I read menopause affects your teeth. My hearing, sometimes I'm like either not hearing things fully or I have tinnitus, like the ringing in your ear. That did not start until here recently. Um, but my bones have been the worst. I already had a couple of bone issues, and I don't know if it's menopause, I don't know if it's the vaccines or a combination thereof. I was told by a medical professional that in some people, if you already have a bone issue, the vaccines are not helping it. I'll just put it that way. Um, and so my gait is different. My overall comfort level with my skeleton is different. Um, you see, I'm having to do this more. I have had issues with my hands and wrists. Well, with my wrists especially. This wrist since I was like 19. But in the past, I'd say about 2 to 3 years, oh, it's gotten just, at one point 3 years ago, I couldn't even write my name. That's how badly that was happening. Um, so yeah, so please be patient with me when I make the videos that are of my art or of music, which I'm going to do more of those. Um, just please be patient and be gentle. um, this has been 30 minutes. Oh, I really need to go. Oh, wow. If you've hung in there until then, thank you. I didn't think this was going to be this long. I hear the neighbor's dog. Thank you so much. Peace and love to you. And we'll talk again soon. If you're going through perimenopause or menopause, drop me a line about how it's affecting you and what advice you would give to the younger people who have no idea yet what's coming to them. To the younger people, if you are not going through this, has anyone who is older than you ever talked to you about it and about their experience? If not, you might want to ask them why not. It's a conversation that needs to happen. Just like we talk, or at least we should be by now as a society, just like we talk to children when they're of an age of proper understanding about sex and reproduction and all that, we need to be talking about the pauses. Men have a pause too. It's called andropause. Or I should say cisgender men, people who identify as male who may be taking, hormone replacement, maybe going through andropause too. But no matter how you identify, if you are a human being and you make it past a certain age, you are going to go through some kind of a pause. It's either going to be andropause, menopause, or something. Your body's going to pause, reset itself, and do things that diminish certain abilities in your life, such as, in my case, the ability to bear and or possibly carry your own children. And I say it like that because now there's all kinds of medical help for the women and the people who have the money to have the egg and sperm of somebody else, go through processes in a lab, and carry your own child if you're physically healthy enough. If you're not, you can even have that baby carried by a surrogate. If I had the money for all of this, like if I were that wealthy, I would do it in a heartbeat. In all honesty, I'm grateful to medical science that these things are possible because it gives those who have the means and the desire and the love to do that if they so choose. I'm going to go. I've been long-winded. I feel better talking to you guys. Take care and peace and love. And if it looks like I'm looking weird at the camera, I have it facing me because all day, and even the other day, when I turn it the other way, I can't tell what's going on. So I'll figure this out. Charge it to my head, not my heart. Take care. Bye.